Ladies, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into your bathroom early in the morning? The light is soft, your towel is where it should be, and yet something feels just a little bit off? The space looks clean. Everything is in order, but there is a faint smell lingering in the air. It is not strong, not terrible, but it is not that fresh, clean feeling you want. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are not alone. In fact, more and more women over the age of 60 are quietly noticing the same thing. And I say quietly because most of us do not want to talk about it. We wonder, did I miss something? Am I being too sensitive? Or worse, we blame ourselves, even though we are doing our best. Here is the truth. Our homes change. Our bodies change. What worked for us 10 or 20 years ago might not work as well now. And sometimes the little habits we have kept for decades, well, they might need just a gentle update. That is why today, I want to walk with you through 7 everyday bathroom habits that could be affecting the way your home smells, especially that faint urine scent that seems to linger even after cleaning. Now, I want to be clear. This is not about being dirty. It is not about being careless. These are small things that many of us were never taught or simply never thought about. But the good news? The solutions are simple, gentle, and made with women like you and me in mind, women who care deeply about our homes, our health, and our dignity. So take a breath, settle in, and let's go through this together, one thoughtful step at a time. Number 1. Flushing the toilet with the lid up. This is something I did for decades without giving it a second thought. You finish using the bathroom, reach over, flush, and walk away. Lid wide open. Most of us do it. And most of us were never told why that tiny habit can make such a big difference. What I did not know back then is that every time you flush the toilet with the lid up, a fine mist rises into the air. It is completely invisible. You will not see it. You will not feel it. But it happens every single time. And that mist? It carries tiny particles of whatever was in the bowl, including bacteria from urine and stool. That means the air in your bathroom is being quietly sprayed onto your hand towels, onto your toothbrush, onto your soap, even your face cream, if it is sitting on the counter. Now, I do not share this to scare you. I share it because, like me, once you know the truth, you can make a simple change that makes a real difference. These days, I always lower the lid before I flush. It is not optional anymore. Lid down, then flush, every single time. And if your toilet does not have a lid, I gently encourage you to consider adding one. Most hardware stores sell them for a low cost, and they are easy to install. I also started keeping my toothbrush inside a drawer and replacing my face towel more often, usually every 2 or 3 days instead of once a week. Just a few little shifts. But since I made them, my bathroom feels fresher, cleaner, and more private. Because even if we cannot see what is in the air, our bodies still respond to it. And protecting our space, our health, and yes, our dignity is something we are absolutely still worthy of. Number 2. Leaving damp towels hanging too long. This is one I used to overlook all the time. After a warm shower, I would hang my towel on the hook behind the door, planning to use it again the next day. Sometimes I did. Sometimes I forgot. Either way, the towel stayed there, soft, a little damp, and quietly holding moisture deep in the fabric. One morning, I stepped into my bathroom and noticed a faint, sour smell. Everything else had been cleaned. The sink, the toilet, even the floor mat. But the air still felt heavy. Not terrible, just not fresh. That is when I leaned in close to the towel, and there it was. A musty scent that had settled right into the fibers. Experts say This is one of the most common sources of bathroom odor, especially in older homes that do not have great airflow. A damp towel is the perfect place for bacteria and mildew to grow. And even if we cannot see it, our nose picks it up. But here is the good news. The solution is simple. First, I switched from using a hook to using a wide towel bar. When a towel hangs flat, it dries much faster. Hooks tend to bunch the fabric, and that traps moisture. Second, I started cracking the window or leaving the bathroom door open after a shower. Just a few minutes of fresh air helps dry everything more quickly. And finally, and this took a little mindset shift, I gave myself permission to wash my towels more often. I used to think, well, it's not dirty, I just used it once. But now, if the towel is still damp the next day, I toss it in the laundry. To make that easier, I keep a few extra towels rolled up under the sink. Just 3 or 4, always dry and ready. And let me tell you, using a fresh towel every time I step out of the shower? That little change has made my whole day feel better. Because it is not just about what the towel smells like, it is about what it says to me. You are cared for. You deserve comfort. And you are allowed to feel good in your own space. Number 3, using fabric toilet mats. I'll be honest, I used to love mine. It was soft, a lovely seafoam green that matched my towels, and it made the bathroom feel cozy. For years, I thought it added a nice touch. But then, one afternoon, I dropped an earring and bent down to pick it up. As I leaned closer to the mat, I caught a faint smell, not overpowering, but sour, like something that had been sitting too long. That was the moment I realized those soft toilet mats are not as innocent as they seem. Fabric mats, especially the kind that wrap around the base of the toilet, are like sponges. They absorb everything. Little splashes from the toilet, moisture from the shower, even steam from the sink. And when urine droplets land on them, even just a few, the fibers soak it right in. Unless you're washing those mats in hot water with strong detergent at least once a week, they will start to hold on to odor-causing bacteria. And if your laundry routine is like mine used to be, every 2 or 3 weeks, that is just not enough to keep the smell away. Once I realized what was happening, I made a small but important change. I switched to a thinner, rubber-backed mat that is machine washable. I keep it just outside the splash zone. And truthfully, some weeks, I do not use a mat at all. I simply wear a cozy pair of bathroom slippers and skip the fabric entirely. If you really enjoy the look of a rug, you can still have one. Just choose a quick-drying cotton mat that does not sit directly around the toilet, something easy to toss in the wash and quick to dry. It might seem like a small change, but getting rid of that damp, heavy fabric made my bathroom smell noticeably cleaner and feel lighter too. And the best part? I spend less time worrying about hidden smells and more time simply enjoying the comfort of my own space. Number 4, not cleaning the wall behind the toilet. This is one of those spots you do not even think about until one day you notice something just does not smell right and you cannot figure out why. I remember cleaning my entire bathroom top to bottom. The toilet was scrubbed, the floor was wiped, towels were fresh. I even lit a candle. And yet, that faint sour smell lingered. I walked around the toilet, leaned in toward the back wall, and decided to wipe it, just to see. The cloth came back with a light yellow tint. That was the first time I realized I had never cleaned the wall behind the toilet, not once in all those years. If you live with men, or have grandsons who visit, tiny splashes from standing urination can land on the wall behind the toilet. The droplets are so small, you would never notice them. But over time, they dry into an invisible residue. And that residue is often the source of that low, nagging smell that will not quite go away. The good news is, this one is easy to fix. Once a week, I take a soft cloth and a gentle cleaning solution, usually just white vinegar mixed with warm water. and I wipe down the wall behind and beside the toilet. If your wall is painted, go gently. If it is tiled, you can be a little more thorough. And if bending is difficult, a long-handled mop with a cloth cover can help you reach it without hurting your back. The difference? Remarkable. Within days, that stubborn odor was gone. Completely. And now it is just part of my routine, like wiping the sink or changing the towels. It is easy to forget the places we do not see, but sometimes it is those hidden areas that make the biggest difference, not just in how our home smells, but in how we feel when we walk into it. And you deserve to feel good in every corner of your space, even the ones behind the toilet. Number 5. Improper disposal of incontinence products. This one is personal, and it may be hard to talk about, but it's important. If you use pads, liners, or adult briefs to manage bladder leakage, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not alone, not even close. Millions of women over 60 deal with some level of incontinence. It is common. It is normal. And it does not mean you are doing anything wrong. But even though the products themselves help us stay dry and confident, the way we throw them away can sometimes cause problems we don't expect, especially when it comes to smell. I'll share what happened to me. When I first started using liners at night, I'd toss them into the little trash bin beside the toilet. I lined it with a plastic bag and emptied it every few days. I thought that was good enough. But over time, I noticed a faint sour odor, even after cleaning the rest of the bathroom. I couldn't figure it out until I realized it was coming from the trash. Even though the lid was closed, the odor was building up inside from the used products. Doctors explain that urine residue in disposable items can give off ammonia odors, especially in a warm, enclosed space. And the longer the bin sits, the more the smell settles into the room. Here is what helped me feel in control again. First, I got a small trash can with a proper sealing lid, not just a flap, a true seal. Then I started using small scented waste bags, the kind people often use for dog waste. I keep a roll of them in the cabinet. Every time I change a liner or brief, I tie it up in one of those little bags before tossing it in the bin. And most importantly, I empty the bin every night, just like brushing my teeth or locking the door. It is part of my evening rhythm now. Since I made that change, the bathroom has stayed fresh. No more guessing where that smell is coming from. And more importantly, no more feeling self-conscious in my own home. Managing incontinence quietly takes a lot of energy, physically, emotionally, and mentally. So if there is a way to make that experience more peaceful and private, I believe we all deserve it. Number 6, ignoring the base of the toilet. This is one of those places most of us overlook, not because we do not care, but simply because we do not see it. When we clean the toilet, we usually focus on the obvious areas: the bowl, the seat, maybe the handle. We spray, we wipe, we flush, and the bathroom looks clean. But if you take a closer look, or better yet, get down with a flashlight, you might find something surprising at the very bottom. The base of the toilet, where it meets the floor, is one of the most common places for odor to hide, especially that faint, sour urine smell we all want to get rid of. I discovered this by accident after my family visited for a weekend. I had cleaned everything, or so I thought. Yet, the bathroom still didn't smell quite right. It wasn't strong, just a little off. I lit a candle. I opened the window. Still, the scent came back. So one morning, I got curious. I knelt down, looked closely at the base of the toilet. And there it was. A thin yellow ring around the bottom, mixed with dust and old hair. It had been there for who knows how long. I simply hadn't seen it because I wasn't looking that low. The truth is, over time, small splashes from urine, especially if you live with men or boys, can collect at the base. If your floor is tiled, the grout can absorb moisture and lock in odors. Even a floor that looks clean may be holding on to hidden smells. And for many of us, bending or kneeling is harder than it used to be. That's why this area is so often missed. But the good news is, there's a gentle solution. I found a long-handled scrubber with a soft pad, easy to use, no bending required. Once a week, I spray the base of the toilet with a cleaner that contains enzymes. Enzymes break down the source of the smell instead of just covering it up. A quick scrub around the base, a light rinse, and it's done in minutes. Since adding this to my routine, the bathroom has smelled fresher, not just on the surface, but deep down. And that brings peace of mind. It's a small area, but sometimes the smallest spots hold the biggest impact. Number 7, skipping the underseat and inner rim. Now this one made me pause the first time I discovered it, because I truly thought I had been doing a good job. I was cleaning the toilet regularly, wiping down the seat, scrubbing the bowl, and even polishing the handle. But as it turns out, there was a spot I was missing completely. A hidden one. It all started when my granddaughter came over to help me with a deep clean. She's always curious, always wanting to be useful. I was cleaning the mirror when she called out from behind me, "Grandma, did you know this part comes off?" I turned around to see her holding the toilet seat in her hands. She had gently twisted the hinges and popped it right off the bowl. I'll admit, I had no idea you could even do that. We looked underneath, and what we saw made both of us pause. There was a buildup around the hinges, a dark ring of grime, and a few dried spots where, clearly, urine had splashed and dried over time. The rim underneath the bowl also had hidden residue tucked under the curved lip where the water flows out. I had never thought to check those places, and suddenly, it made sense. That lingering odor I could never quite track down? It had been coming from these hidden areas all along. The truth is, even when the toilet looks clean, those tight corners where the seat connects and the underrim of the bowl are the perfect spots for bacteria and odors to hide. It's not that we're neglectful. It's just that they're not visible unless we take a closer look or remove a part or two. Here's what I do now, and it has made all the difference. Once every month or two, I take a few minutes to remove the toilet seat. Most modern seats can be twisted off easily without tools. But if yours is older or feels stuck, a family member or handyman can help the first time. Once the seat is off, I spray around the hinges and under the seat with a gentle disinfectant. You can also use a natural mix of white vinegar and baking soda if you prefer something less harsh. Let it sit for a minute or two, then scrub gently with a soft bristled brush. I use an old toothbrush I keep just for cleaning. I also take a moment to run the brush under the inner rim of the toilet bowl, that little lip where water flows out during a flush. That area, too, can hold on to buildup even if the bowl looks clean. When everything is clean, I rinse with warm water and dry the parts with a clean cloth before reattaching the seat. The whole process takes less than 10 minutes once you're used to it. And believe me, the sense of freshness it brings is worth every second. What I love most about this new habit is how empowered it made me feel. For so long, I was doing everything I thought I should, but still feeling like something was off. Once I discovered this overlooked area, it gave me the confidence to know that I truly had control over my space again. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about hygiene. It's about comfort, dignity, and making sure our homes serve us, not the other way around. Bonus, a gentle reflection. Why these small habits matter more than we think. As we talk about fresh towels, closed toilet lids, or a cleaner wall behind the toilet, it may seem like we're just tidying up, wiping here, tossing there, adjusting a routine. But I believe, and I've seen it time and time again, these small acts carry something deeper. They are not just about odor, or bacteria, or appearances. They're about self-respect, about reclaiming a sense of calm and control over the space where we begin and end each day. And for many of us, they're about shifting an old story we may have silently carried, the one that says, "I come last." I remember a friend, a woman in her 70s, bright as a sunflower but always rushing, telling me, "I clean the kitchen, the living room, the laundry, but I never get around to the bathroom for myself. It's not like anyone else uses it but me." That line stuck with me. It's not like anyone else uses it but me. As if that somehow made it less important. But here's a truth I've come to believe with all my heart. The bathroom we use alone might be the most important one to care for, because it's the one that speaks to how we treat ourselves when no one else is watching. It's not vanity, it's dignity. And sometimes, dignity looks like a fresh towel waiting for you to, even if no one else sees it. A toilet seat wiped down because you deserve a clean seat just as much as any guest would. A bin emptied daily, not because it smells bad, but because you're worth a peaceful space. A mat removed, not because it's ugly, but because you choose freshness over habit. These are not chores, they are quiet acts of care, and they're powerful. Now, since we're sharing, let me offer a small tip that has helped me more than I expected. It's not about scrubbing or spraying, it's about resetting your relationship with your space. Once a month, I choose one small item in the bathroom that's been overlooked. Just one. It might be that old hairbrush cup that's gathered dust, the tiny window that hasn't opened in a year, the cabinet under the sink with those expired lotions. I spend no more than 15 minutes. I set a timer. And I gently tend to it. Not all at once, not all the things, just one thing. Once a month. It's my way of saying, I see you, I care, you matter. And over time, that habit changed more than my bathroom. It changed how I felt about waking up. It reminded me that even in this season of life, I still have choices. I still have rhythms. I can still create beauty and peace with just a cloth, a bag, or a fresh bar of soap. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't start with a big checklist. Just ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today to make this space more kind to me? Maybe it's folding your towels differently. Maybe it's switching from air freshener to a small jar of baking soda with lavender oil. Maybe it's asking a grandchild to show you how to unscrew that tricky toilet seat. Maybe it's writing a note to yourself on the mirror. Clean is not just for others. It's for me too. You deserve to feel at peace in the room where you care for your body. You deserve fresh air, soft towels, and a floor that doesn't whisper old smells. You deserve the dignity of a space that reflects how deeply you've cared for others all your life. And now, how gently you care for yourself. These little routines are not just maintenance, they are healing. And they remind us, day after day, that even as things change, our homes, our bodies, our energy, we still hold power in our hands. Power to improve, to reset, to tend, to choose peace. So the next time you're in your bathroom, take a breath. Notice one thing that feels off and one thing that feels right. Honor both. Because this isn't just about a clean toilet. It's about living with intention in every quiet corner of your life. So there you have it. 7 quiet habits we often overlook and simple, gentle ways to shift them. Not all at once, not perfectly, just one thoughtful change at a time. Because this stage of life isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters, about choosing comfort, calm, and care in the spaces we use every day. Your bathroom may be small, but the peace you create there can ripple through the rest of your day. If any of these tips helped you or reminded you of something you've already been doing, I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment below and tell me, which habit surprised you the most? Or share a tip of your own. This community is full of smart, thoughtful women, and I believe we all have something to learn from one another. And if this spoke to you, please consider subscribing to Thoughtful Elders Insight. Every week, we explore small changes that help us live stronger, wiser, and with more grace after 60. Because you are not alone. You are not behind. You're exactly where you need to be, still learning, still growing, still deserving of a life that feels good. Until next time, take care of your space, and it will take care of you.